with Tiger Woods, who says, as John Paul Young sang back in 1977, love is in the air. Here's why.
Not all stories end the way people expect, no matter how perfect they seem from the outside. Elin Nordegren, once married to golf legend Tiger Woods, lived a life many could only dream of. But when it all came to an end, she disappeared from the spotlight without a word. Now, years later, she's back, and what people are seeing has left everyone talking. Reports say she has changed in ways no one expected, and new details are beginning to surface about where she's been and how much she's transformed. So, what made Elin disappear in the first place? Where did she go, and who is she now? Stay with us, because seeing her today might just leave you speechless. Elin's early life. Before Elin Nordegren became known as Tiger Woods' ex-wife, she was just a girl growing up in Stockholm, Sweden. Elin was born in 1980 and raised in a world far away from fame, flashing cameras, or public attention. Her life as a little girl was simple and calm. Her mother worked as a radio journalist and also served as a cabinet minister. Her father was a well-known radio reporter. Elin grew up with her twin sister, Josephine. Although their parents were well-educated and used to the media world, the sisters themselves were not famous in any way. They lived a normal life and stayed out of the spotlight during their early years. But as Elin got older, she began working part-time as a model while also studying. People noticed her right away. Her beauty was hard to ignore. But Elin did not believe that her looks alone would take her very far. She had bigger dreams for her future. That ambition made her to move to the United States, where Elin got a job as a nanny for the family of Swedish golfer Jesper Parnevik. It was a big step and a brave move for a young woman starting out on her own. But while she was working for Parnevik, something completely unexpected happened. Something that altered the cause of her life AS career. Keep watching, because what happened next is something that will shock you. While working as a nanny for Jesper Parnevik's family, Elin was introduced to Tiger Woods at the 2001 Open Championship. Parnevik was a close friend of Woods at the time, and he thought that Elin would be a good match for him and made the introduction. At first, Elin was not interested. She had been dating someone else and was not looking for a relationship. But over time, Tiger pursued her, and their connection grew. Despite the fact that they both came from very different worlds, they seemed to click. So by the early 2000s, they were quietly dating. Their relationship stayed mostly private in the beginning, but it wasn't long before the media caught on. At the time, Tiger Woods was at the very top of his game, young, powerful, and one of the most recognizable athletes in the world. He was a global icon, and his fame was unparalleled in the early 2000s. When he began dating Elin, the public was in shock. The quiet, private Swedish nanny and the most famous golfer in the world? It seemed like something out of a modern fairy tale. Elin and Tiger Woods made their first public appearance as a couple in 2002. By 2004, they were married in a lavish ceremony in Barbados. The wedding was private, elegant, and luxurious. The paparazzi could not get enough of them. To many watching from the outside, Elin had stepped into a dream, marrying a sports superstar, traveling the world, and becoming a fixture at high-profile events. The couple appeared in magazines, charity galas, and red carpets. She smiled quietly at his side, always poised, always elegant, rarely speaking to the press. Soon, the couple welcomed their first child, a daughter named Sam, in 2007. 2 years later, their son Charlie was born. Elin seemed fully devoted to her role as a mother, often spotted taking the kids to school or family outings, all while maintaining a quiet presence behind Tiger's explosive career. To the public, Elin Nordegren was the calm, steady figure in the background of a high-octane, high-pressure life. She was not chasing fame. She was not giving interviews or launching brands. She was simply there, supporting her family, raising her children, and staying far away from the spotlight that was so often aimed at her husband. But what the public saw was only one part of the story, because behind the scenes, tension was rising and the fairy tale wedding was at the verge of collapsing. But what led to these cracks? Keep watching to find out. As Tiger Woods' career reached new heights, his life became a whirlwind of travel, public events, and intense training. With his demanding schedule, he was constantly away from home. Elin, on the other hand, remained grounded. She created a calm, stable life for their children, handling school drop-offs, birthday parties, and bedtime stories, while Tiger stood in front of roaring crowds. But just as the couple moved forward with their lives, everything changed in late 2009. One early morning, news broke that Tiger Woods had crashed his SUV right outside their Florida home. At first, it seemed like a simple car accident and a quick hospital visit. But within hours, the story began to unravel. Details didn't add up. Then, out of nowhere, rumors started spreading that Tiger had been cheating. It began with Rachel Uchitel, a nightclub manager, publicly linked to Tiger. Soon after, Jamie Grubbs, a cocktail waitress, came forward with her own story. Mindy Lawton, another woman, also went public, detailing her involvement. Before long, multiple women were claiming they had been involved with him, and the story exploded into a full-blown scandal. Headlines were everywhere. Reporters filled their neighborhood. Talk shows could not stop covering it. The clean, perfect image of the world's most famous golfer fell apart, and at the heart of it all was Elin. Yet, she did not speak out. She did not post on social media or hold interviews. While the whole world picked apart her private life, Elin stayed quiet. People could see the pain on her face, but she stayed strong and private. In the only interview Elin gave later on the matter, she said she had no idea what was happening. She felt shocked, sad, and embarrassed. But through it all, she kept her focus on her children. Then, when she could not take it anymore, Elin filed for a divorce. In August 2010, the divorce was final. There were no public fights, no court drama, just a quiet ending to their marriage. After that divorce, Elin stepped away. She did not sell her story or try to stay in the spotlight. She simply walked away. No interviews, no fame, no big public moves. But what many did not know is that while they thought that she was hiding, Elin was actually healing. She was spending her silent years rebuilding her life, protecting her peace, and finding herself again, far from headlines and cameras. Because Elin wasn't just trying to move on. She was getting ready for a quiet, powerful comeback. A comeback that left the entire world in shock. Stay with us as we explore Elin's life after her divorce. Elin's life after divorce. After the divorce, Elin Nordegren did something only a few people expected. She quietly began to rebuild herself from the inside out. While many in her position would have tried to reclaim the spotlight or cash in on public sympathy, Elin chose a different path. She focused on healing. And the first step of her healing journey was going for therapy. For Elin, therapy was not just about dealing with heartbreak, it was about rediscovering who she was. For years, the media had labeled her as the silent, beautiful wife, the woman who had been betrayed, the face behind the scandal. But in therapy, Elin started peeling back those labels. She worked through deep feelings of betrayal, confusion, anger, and sadness. Slowly, she found her voice again, and with it, a sense of strength that had been buried under public scrutiny. That season of healing became a turning point. Therapy did not just help her to cope, it gave her purpose, and it inspired a bold, unexpected move. While the world was focused on Tiger's public apology tour and his return to professional golf, Elin quietly enrolled at Rollins College in Winter Park, Florida. She chose to study psychology, not to rebrand herself, but because it had played such a powerful role in her own recovery. Elin did not rush through her education. She was not a full-time student living on campus. She was a full-time mom, raising her 2 children, Sam and Charlie. Although she was balancing part-time classes and a demanding home life was not easy. She tried to stay focused. Nearly 9 years after starting her studies, Elin's hard work paid off. In 2014, she graduated from Rollins College with an impressive 3.96 GPA and was honored as the outstanding senior of her class. It was a quiet but powerful milestone, a moment that marked not just academic achievement, but personal growth. At the graduation ceremony, Elin gave one of her few public speeches. It was brief, heartfelt, and honest. She reflected on how, in the beginning, adjusting to student life had been difficult. But over time, she found herself growing, not just academically, but emotionally. According to her, studying psychology had given her more than an education. It helped her make sense of her past, particularly her experiences with family and legal matters. The classroom became a space of healing, a place where she could reconnect with herself, understand what she'd endured, and begin to rebuild her identity. This chapter of Elin's life wasn't about headlines or attention. It was about her quiet strength and steady progress. She did not rush. She did not perform for the public. She simply studied the course, focused on her children, her peace of mind, and her future. But it did not end there. Her interest in mental health did not stop with her diploma. In 2018, Elin took her commitment further by becoming a registered mental health counselor intern in the state of Florida. That same year, she co-founded EN Therapy, LLC, a counseling center aimed at supporting people through emotional trauma, anxiety, and family struggles. While the company was modest and eventually became inactive in 2021, it said a lot about Elin's values. She didn't chase Instagram fame or reality TV deals like many celebrities. Instead, she tried to give back by helping others heal, just as she had been helped. Her work in therapy was deeply personal. Though Elin never gave public interviews about her clinic, sources close to her say she remained passionate about mental health and especially about helping women and children going through life-altering transitions. Elin's empathy was not performative. It was real, earned through hardship. During this time, Elin also focused intensely on her children. While Tiger Woods went through a public redemption arc in the golf world, Elin stayed mostly out of view, showing up only for events involving her children or academic milestones. Despite the fact that Elin Nordegren received one of the largest divorce settlements in history, reportedly around $100 million, Elin never showcased her wealth. She remained grounded. She was often seen attending parent-teacher meetings and living life as a regular mom. In interviews, she said she worked hard to ensure her children never felt like pawns in their parents' very public split. Co-parenting with Tiger wasn't always easy, but over time, they built a respectful relationship. Today, both parents are said to attend their children's sporting events and activities together, without drama. As the years passed, Elin transformed from Tiger Woods' ex-wife into her own person, a mother, a student, a therapist, and a woman who had reclaimed her life. But that was not all. Elin made an appearance that shocked many people. Stay tuned. Elin's comeback. While Elin was going to school, she did not just come out with good grades, she came out with something better: a fresh family. According to reports, Elin met Jordan Cameron sometime after he retired from the NFL in 2017. The connection between them was not loud or dramatic, it was quiet, comfortable. They were both incredibly private people who knew what it meant to live under public scrutiny and chose, instead, to live outside of it. He understood what she had been through, her heartbreak, her need for privacy, and most of all, her devotion to her children. And in that understanding, something genuine began to grow. In the early days, their relationship was kept completely under wraps. Elin had learned the hard way how fame could damage love. She was not going to let that happen again. So they moved slowly, intentionally. They built trust not through grand gestures, but in the small, steady moments, school pickups, quiet dinners, late-night conversations that had nothing to do with the past and everything to do with building something new. By the time rumors about the relationship began to surface, Elin had already been with Jordan for over 2 years. Then, in 2019, Elin Nordegren was spotted at her son's football game. But it was not just the sight of Elin that made headlines. It was the baby bump. Dressed simply and radiating peace, she stood next to Jordan Cameron, smiling, calm, and unmistakably expecting. That moment was when the world caught up with what had been quietly growing behind the scenes. And that was the fact Elin Nordegren was starting a new chapter. Later that year, Elin gave birth to a baby boy, Arthur. The media had their moment, but Elin didn't feed it. There were no interviews, no cover stories, just a quiet confirmation that yes, she was happy, and yes, this was real. Those close to her said Elin seemed lighter, more grounded. There was no longer the pressure to fit into a life that never quite fit her. With Jordan, she could just be. She was not a celebrity's wife anymore. She was a woman rebuilding her life on her own terms, with someone by her side who respected the space she had fought to protect. Jordan, too, was a full partner in every sense. Though he had once been a star tight end for the Miami Dolphins, he had left that world behind willingly. He wanted a quieter life, one where he could raise his own son from a previous relationship and be present in a way professional sports had made difficult. With Elin, he found a partner who valued that same quiet intentionality. By 2022, their family had grown, again. Elin gave birth to a daughter, Zeta, and just 2 years later, in 2024, they welcomed their third child together, a baby girl named Freya. Elin, who was once known primarily as Tiger Woods' ex-wife, was now a mother of 5, raising children in a blended family full of love, stability, and grace. It was not always easy. Blending families never is. But Elin and Jordan approached parenting the same way they approached life, with patience, humility, and a deep respect for each other. They put the children first, making sure every child felt seen, safe, and supported. As the years passed, they slowly stepped out of total privacy. Not to seek attention, but because raising a growing family naturally brings you back into the world. Elin was occasionally seen at school events, cheering from the sidelines at soccer games or enjoying quiet family outings. But unlike the years when paparazzi chased her every move, there was now a sense of peace. People seemed to finally understand that Elin was not chasing the spotlight. Instead, she had moved far beyond it. And yet, when Elin appeared at a private charity gala in early 2025, walking hand in hand with Jordan Cameron, she drew everybody's attention, not because of the dress she wore or the man beside her, but because of how she carried herself. Calm, confident, and unshaken, it was clear Elin was at peace. For those who remembered the quiet, heartbroken woman of 2009, it felt like watching someone fully step into their strength. Her appearance sparked headlines again. Not gossip, but curiosity. People wondered, how long had she been this happy? Where had she been all this time? But none of that truly mattered, because Elin was back, and she was back to shine. But here comes the shocker. But here comes the unexpected twist. Recent reports suggest that Tiger Woods, who has spent years rebuilding his public image, has privately admitted to having regrets over his divorce. According to sources close to him, seeing Elin now joyful, grounded, and deeply in love has reminded him of what he lost. Not just of a marriage he destroyed, but the peace, loyalty, and quiet strength that once surrounded him. Yet for Elin, those thoughts no longer hold weight. Her story is not tied to the past anymore, and certainly not to him. That chapter is closed. What matters now is the life she has built since everything unraveled. She found love again, long after betrayal. She discovered strength in solitude and healing in growth. She redefined herself on her own terms, not as a public figure, not as a headline, but as a whole person. And she did it all, without asking for attention, applause, or approval. This was not just a grand comeback designed for the cameras. It was something quieter and far more powerful. A return to self. Because what truly matters is understanding that your real strength is not shown when life is perfect. It is revealed when you rise after everything falls apart. What are your thoughts on Elin's first relationship with Tiger Woods? Do you think she made the right decision by leaving? And most importantly, what are your thoughts on her comeback? Share your opinions with us in the comments section. If you enjoyed the video, like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Also, click the following video on your screen and you will enjoy it.